If there's something evil to me, it is scarcity. It's this limited mindset that I can't do everything that I am about to go after. This is a man's world. He's going to look down on me. He's going to be like, why are you the CEO? And I can't afford him right now. I really should be smart with my money. I could have grown so much bigger and so much faster and been so much more successful if I would have just taken the belief in me and not listened to other people's advice.
Welcome to Taking Care of Lady Business, where we have conversations about power, value, and success on your own terms. I'm talking with women who are building influence, wealth, and authority, not by following someone else's playbook, but by deciding what success looks like for themselves. These are candid conversations, hard-earned perspectives, and no BS insight from women who aren't asking permission. They're setting the standard. I'm your host, Jennifer Justice. Most people call me JJ. Let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Taking Care of Lady Business. I'm Jennifer Justice. Today, we have Dani Lynn Robison. She is the CEO of Freedom Family Investments. Did I just say that right? Freedom Family Investments. How are you?
That's right. You nailed it.
Good.
I'm
Good.
so glad to be here, JJ. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. So let's get right into it. What is Freedom Family Investments?
So we're a private equity real estate firm. So we manage funds and syndications. We buy needs-based real estate, which includes multifamily, senior housing, and self-storage.
And how did you get into this?
Yeah, that is a story. So my husband and I are actually musicians by trade. Fast forward to college in Florida, working on cruise ships, working at Walt Disney World. There was a point in time where we were traveling so much that we decided, hey, Dani's going to get off this travel wagon and figure out what the next step is. And so I tried insurance, I tried financial services, I tried mergers and acquisitions. Obviously, I loved the finance space. And real estate was the very last thing that I tried. It was 2008 when I got in. And everything has been it's just gone from there. I just fell in love with real estate. When you find the thing that you love, that it was real estate for me.
Okay, so wait, you're musicians and you're playing like on cruise ships and stuff?
Yes. Yeah. We're both trumpet players. And it's a funny story. I do believe everything happens for a reason. And this is one of those fate things where I went to college in Florida. He went to college in Florida. We didn't know each other. I worked at Walt Disney World. Then he worked at Walt Disney World. We didn't know each other. And he's one step behind me the whole way. I go to cruise ships. When he gets on cruise ships, we're literally on the same ship. I'm going off. He's going on. And then we ended up, it was a hurricane and we landed in the Bahamas at the same time. Our two ships got diverted and our band had the night off, so we went to go see his band play. The guy that was sitting next to him, who was also a trumpet player, said, remember that Danielle that everybody keeps talking to you about because you're following her essentially every step of the way? He said, yeah. He said, she's right there in the front row. At the end of the cocktail set, he throws open the curtains to meet me for the very first time, and we're gone. We're already down the pier, headed to a restaurant. And so he, in his tuxedo, grabbed his ship key, ran down the plank, and ran down the pier in the Bahamas, yelling, Danielle, Danielle. And that's how we met. So it's pretty crazy.
Wow, that is quite a story.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I love it. And the rest is history. $1 billion later. Yeah. So what does that mean? You tried out insurance and you tried out like financial services?
Yeah. So because I was a musician, when we were on cruise ships, we didn't have to work very much. We were working like a couple hours a day, if that, maybe 2 days a week. So we didn't have really a lot to do. So I wanted some side money and I worked for the art auctioneer on the cruise ships and learned about art auctions. One day he said, Dani, go run to my cabin and pick up some paperwork. I said, okay. And so I went to his cabin. I saw his commission check and I went, what? I saw how much he made. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I ran into Flip's cabin and I said, you're becoming an art auctioneer. And that was really the transition from us on cruise ships between being a musician and going into a career that allowed us to start building wealth and making money for the very first time. We just got so tired of travel. We got promoted to land, started flying to different states and cities every other weekend. I think it was 2 weekends a month. And it was just, tiresome. Like at some point, my husband jokes, his name's Flip, by the way. Flip says, when you go to St. Thomas, you go, no, not St. Thomas again, like you're done. I just needed to get out of that career and that type of travel. And so I said, I'll be the first one. You stay art auctioning. I'll be the first one. I'll go find a new career. And then that's how we'll transition in terms of finances in order to support us both. So I said every single career, I made a list of what I was going to try. And I said I was going to give each one a year. So I tried each one stepping into it. And I said, I will give it a year, give it a real chance at success. And I started with insurance and financial services. And ultimately, I was just like, after a year, I was like, nope, I don't like it. Went to mortgage next. Nope, don't like it. Went to mergers and acquisitions. I did not last a year in mergers and acquisitions. But then that's when I got into real estate. And that's when I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. It was 2008. We were learning in a down market, which ends up being one of my superpowers because I got to learn when times were tough. And so that's what I mean by trying.
You're just saying how you both went to college. It also just goes to show you, it's like how little college prepares you for the outside world. You know what I mean? When you
100%.
have no idea what you want to do. So when you're applying for jobs, so let's go to mergers and acquisitions, the one that you didn't last a year. So are you working at a firm? What are you doing there?
Yeah, so it was Generational Equity, I think was the name of the company. And I was in a cubicle and I was just dialing, businesses and asking them, where are you at in your business? Are you interested in selling? That was my whole entire job. I just hated it. I just didn't like, the cold calling. What attracted me to mergers and acquisitions was the business side of it, was understanding the finances, understanding what happens when you want to sell a business, how to value it, how you find your end buyer, how that whole transaction takes place. And I had to work my way up to understanding that point and had to be on the phones to start. And after 2 years and two other jobs that I didn't like, I was like, I'm not doing another years, forget it. And so that's when I decided to try out real estate. And I found a broker that ended up being 8 months of being a licensed realtor and no deals because it was 2008, right? And so after that, my broker, she also did investing. And I said, hey, I think I really want to learn investing because these sellers, they're just so unreasonable. They don't understand what the market is right now. They still want to sell top of the market. And we can't do that. And I can't just keep on going with no checks. It's been 8 months already. And because I had been on cruise ships and traveling this whole time, I didn't have a network because that's how you get started when you're a realtor, is your network. So I didn't have any of the things to set me up for success. So we hired a mentor. And this is the part of the reason why anytime people ask me, how have you succeeded? Like, what's been one of your secrets to success? It is surrounding myself with people who are already where I want to be. And so I hired the mentor and he taught us 12 different ways to buy and sell real estate. And that's how we got started in the investing side, where I could take control of my life instead of relying on other people who maybe just were in a place in their life where they could make the right decisions to allow me to make money, which sucked. Just say it that way.
So with this mentor, how did you find him? How did you know that he was like on the up and up? How do you know that what you were paying was the right thing to pay?
I tried to interview multiple mentors. He's the one that actually replied to the email. He was actually in my hometown and people knew him and he ran one of the real estate investor clubs. And so there was a lot of, credibility and backing behind him. He was in tech too. I don't know if he was self-made, so I don't want to say that, but he was definitely the real deal and he put himself out there. And so the fact that he was the only one that replied meant he was the only one I could go with, really. But there was a lot of credibility behind what he was doing and a lot of people who believed in him and had studied under him.
And he gave you that time. You paid him though.
Yes, we did. So there was 5 of us. I have a strong belief in doing things with other people and just surrounding yourself with people who are on the same path so you can all learn together. So there was 5 of us, including my broker, who all decided as a group, we were going to, I think it was $25,000 at the time. As a group, we were going to invest this money to study with him and we would all learn faster together and we would do it together. And that's what we did. And so he loved it. And I don't know if you've been a coach, but in the coaching industry, I have been a coach and I stopped because it wasn't fulfilling for me. And he said the very thing that it should have been a light bulb. He said, I'm so grateful for you guys. Will you be a testimonial? Will you fly over to these events and talk about what I've taught you and what you've done? Because you're actually succeeding. And I never understood why. And so I asked him and he said, less than 10% actually do what I tell them I'm going to do. And therefore they don't succeed. And, you guys did what I told you to do. And I want to tell everybody, look, it works.
Right. So he gave you 12 lessons, you said.
12 different ways to buy and sell real estate. Now, not all of them are great. Not every single strategy for real estate is good in every market, right? So that market, we did choose, hey, this is the market. This is what's going on right now. So here's the strategies that we're going to focus on to succeed.
And what market is that?
So it was the crash, 2008. At that time, it was Austin, Texas, is where he lived. We were just north in Round Rock, Texas.
Are you still in business with the other 5 people or is it just you and your husband?
It's just me and my husband now. I hate saying this. One of them has passed away, but the other 2 were also husband and wife and they're divorced. So
you and your husband set off to become real estate investors.
yes.
And this is 2008.
Yes.
And I mean, much like it is still now, it's controlled basically by men.
Yes.
And you're doing commercial real estate or private real estate?
So single family residential real estate. I think at that point in time, I wouldn't have even fathomed commercial, right? Real estate itself was kind of a little scary. It's like, oh, only rich people do this. So how do I get into this world? Commercial, I thought was way hands off and not something I could do, which is one of those things that I think is a myth, if you will.
Let's talk about the first myth that only rich people can do this, because you look up one thing, right, on social media, and next thing you know, you're getting like bombarded with ads saying, I can make you rich. And it's definitely in the manosphere for sure. Women are like, what are ways that I can make passive income outside of just what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis and trying to like stay afloat, right? Since we are so far behind financially, like it's really hard to determine if this is all bullshit.
It is. You know what? I'm glad that you said that because I think it's getting harder, right? With AI, it is getting harder and harder to know what you're seeing is real. Did you even write that? Like, are you smart? Have you done the thing? Because now AI can write something that makes it look like they've done the thing. And so you actually have to have this in person interaction and start listening to more and more podcasts to go, who's on there and is actually getting asked all the hard questions and knows it like that because they've actually been through it, as opposed to saying something on social media that you're like, I don't even know. I think it's gonna get worse. So,
No, it is. It's already like New York Times just did one on the wellness industry. I don't know if you saw it, where they were targeting a bunch of people like over like 70, you know what I mean? And like if you buy these things, all of them are fake. Everything's fake, fake, fake. And it's like actually harming them. And they're believing like these models that are fake AI. It's like really awful. So you feel like you have to be rich. I don't know many women who feel rich. Why is that a myth? How can you actually buy real estate without any money?
yeah, so I'm gonna tell you a few things with regard to that answer. Number one, I got started with like no money down type strategies in real estate. So number one, of course, you can be a realtor. I think that's top of the funnel. Top of the funnel when you think about real estate is become a realtor or become a landlord. That's what everybody thinks right out of the gate. And to be a landlord, you think you have to be rich. To be a realtor, at least it's a job and you can start learning about it. But to buy real estate and to make money in real estate as an investor, you can do no money down strategies. You can be kind of a broker of a transaction. In that particular time period in 2008, we were actually talking to sellers who couldn't sell and talking to buyers who couldn't buy. So buyers who couldn't buy couldn't get a loan because the market we were in, like the lending environment was getting tougher and tougher. The sellers couldn't sell because the market tanked. So they probably owe $200,000 on a $150,000 house. We would match those two together. And we did that by saying, hey, JJ, you can't sell your house right now. And the last thing you want is to go into foreclosure. You need to move. Here's what we can do. You have a $200,000 house, a $200,000 mortgage that's only valued at $150,000. You have no choices really right now unless you want to come to the table with cash in order to close to somebody who's going to buy it at a steep, steep discount based on what you owe. Well, this buyer over here cannot get a loan right now because the lending environment is tough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have this buyer actually pay $10,000 or $20,000 down payment to you. You're going to leave your loan in place. They're going to pay essentially $220,000, let's say $210,000 for your house. It's going to allow them to buy a house when they can't otherwise buy. It's going to allow you to sell the house when you can't otherwise sell. You're keeping the loan in place, meaning you're owner financing it. And there's a lot of legal stuff that I would have to say. So nobody do this because there's a lot of legal stuff you have to do right to do this correctly. But that was the idea. And I can't tell you how many people that helped that otherwise would have faced foreclosure and some bad credits, situations that buyers said, I don't mind paying a premium because I'm going to stay there a long time. And eventually the market will correct if you're willing to just be patient. And they knew that. And so I got paid a fee, $10,000 or $20,000 to actually put two people together and solve problems.
And who's paying this fee, the seller or the buyer or
The
both?
buyer. So the buyer puts down the down payment and I tell the seller, I'm going to take that down payment. That's my fee for solving this problem for you. I'm just going to broker the transaction. Eventually, there were times where I stayed in the middle. So not only did I take the payment for JJ, I would assume your loan. And then I would say to my husband, Flip, hey, you're going to pay $220,000 for this house. You're going to give me $20,000 down payment. You're going to pay me $1,500 a month for the mortgage, where JJ's loan is only $1,200 a month. Now I have $20,000 and I have $300 cash flow between what Flip is paying me and what I owe on your mortgage. That's how it eventually came out. There's just lots of ways to make money and to do it without having money. And that is one of those things that people just don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, like every time somebody's like, I'm going to teach you how to buy real estate with no money down, there's always a big fee involved in learning it, right?
Yeah, there is that. And I do think that you do have to invest in yourself, right? I have learned something because I was coaching. The people who I helped for free are the ones that were the worst at taking actions. Like they didn't take it seriously because they didn't have to put any money on the line. I would still help them because, quite frankly, the people who paid me $25,000 to coach them did do anything either most of the time. And I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to take people's money if you're not going to do the thing. Like I was doing it because I thought, I did it. I succeeded. And let me show other people because I like taking other people on the ride with me. I like helping people. But if I'm going to invest my time, you better do what I tell you to do and at least try. And I hated that they didn't. And so that lack of fulfillment said, you know what, stop coaching, just do your thing. And so I stopped.
When was that? And how long were you doing the coaching?
It was back when I learned. So right when I learned, he asked me to start traveling around. And as we were traveling around, we got known as the REI rock stars because we succeeded pretty fast. There was 5 of us. It was easy for 5 people to motivate each other, hold each other accountable, teach each other. This is what I learned. This is what I learned. So we all just kind of rose together. And that was such a unique thing for that coach of mine. He was like, oh my gosh, I got to share you. And then as he shared us, everybody's like, hey, we want to learn from these guys, not necessarily from him. And so we actually started coaching. We were a coaching arm underneath him. And then I partnered with an attorney to do everything that I just told you because there's so many legal pieces to it. I partnered with an attorney. We started coaching. And again, we did okay. Too many people were spending money and not doing anything. And I'm doing a disservice for people to take their money if they're not going to actually take action. It's not my fault, but somehow I just felt responsible for the fact that I couldn't get them to do the thing.
Yeah. All right. And so you're sitting here and it's still this time and you're still a woman. Like, how are you getting taken more seriously than your husband?
Let me say it this way. Everybody went to Flip. When I'm in a conversation, and still to this day, if Flip and I are standing in the room together, they are talking to him every single time. I'm the CEO. He is not the CEO. I am the CEO. I'm the one that makes all the decisions. I'm the one that does everything. I'm the one that can tell you all of the things that we're doing right now. And he has helped, but he's really kind of been my right hand. And I've said, hey, this is where you shine. This is where I shine. Let's divide and conquer. And so he'll be standing here and he'll be like, he'll get the question. And I'll just stand there and I'll be like, he's about to say, you need to talk to my wife, Dani. And that's how like our entire life has been. And that really has not changed. I still have to go into every single room and prove that I know what I'm doing, that I know what I'm talking about. And it is just part of our journey. I will say I've gotten frustrated, but it also helps me recognize my own power, right? That I do have power.
What do you mean? Say more about that.
It helps me understand that I have survived in a man's world, that I have put up with people coming to my face and talking to my husband instead of me when I'm the one actually doing the thing. And so that can either tank you or propel you, right? And so there's times where I've let it tank me and I've let it be an emotional like roller coaster of I'm so mad, I'm the one doing this thing. Like, why don't they respect me? I'm a woman in a man's world. I've said it all. But there got to be a point where I was like, I'm pretty proud to be a successful woman in this man's world. I'm far more successful than a lot of men in this world. So it became a thing where I was like, I'm pretty powerful. Like I am a powerful human being. And why am I not embracing that part of this journey instead of the part that made me feel less than, right? And it was taking upon that power and saying I am a powerful person and I deserve to be in this room that actually started elevating me even more.
Well, that's like getting in your feminine versus the masculine, right? It's like working in the matriarchal system of it versus the patriarchal, which is going to tell you that you're never going to get the same respect, et cetera. And you're going like, no one's going to tell me what to do. You know what I mean? Because there has been this kind of conversation going around. I don't know if you're familiar with co-CEO Skims with her husband. Her name is Emma Greed, and she wrote a book, and it's all about start with yourself. And, people were like, well, it's really easy for you because you were with your husband, you already had a denim line and all of this. And while there is some truth to the fact that it is easier, like if you were by yourself, right, it would have been much harder than Flip. Am I right?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Right. Okay. So, however, somebody's got to knock on the door for it to be opened. Everybody's saying that like the door was opened because of my husband. And look, there are definitely privileges when you're married to a white man and has his own business, etc. But unless she knocked on the door and then got in the room and then had the talent to stay there, it just wouldn't happen. Okay. You don't get like to be in a patriarchal system and like have no talent and get to stay there. Like it's harder to move up, right? I'm a single mom by choice. So it's like I know how hard it is being by myself. And I know that there is some kind of privileges to having the man beside you, but that doesn't mean they opened the door for you. Could he stay here without you too, is the other question.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely goes both ways. And I love him for that because he will be the first one to defend me. Like, he will absolutely be like, I'm not the person to talk to. You need to talk to my wife. She's the one that built this thing. It's almost a lesson to the men who automatically do that because they're taken aback by a man that's going to actually give space for the woman to lead.
Well, and not only that, it's the people who are making these assumptions and don't want to deal with you. You're not going to do business with them.
We have the right to fire anybody.
Exactly. I love it. Okay, so you're the CEO of this company. Tell us what Freedom Family Investments actually does.
Yeah, so we invest in real estate. We used to do single family. That's a different story. We don't do single family anymore. We now do multifamily, senior housing, and self storage. And the reason those three asset classes are important is because it's needs based real estate. And I think that's important for anybody who is interested in investing in real estate or already does. In the economy that we're in right now, in the market, in the shifts, in AI, and everything that's changing in the world, where my priority and where my money is going is what is needs based? What are people going to prioritize paying no matter what? They need the roof over their head. Seniors, 11,000 turning 65 every single day. For the next 10, 15 years, they will need senior housing. They will prioritize healthcare. I'm under NDA, so I can't say it, but I was on a call today. Self-storage is going to blow up in some really unique ways over the next probably 6 months based on what's going on in the industry. And there's some unique opportunities in where you're going to get into self-storage where it's going to be a needs-based asset more than it already is because people are still using it for businesses. They're using it for storage when life happens and they do have to consolidate things. I think needs-based real estate, no matter what you're looking at, that's the question you should be asking. Is this needs-based? I don't think retail, office, hotels, there's just some things that when things get bad, if they get bad, is it needs based? Are people going to still pay for those? And that's how you make decisions.
So what's the journey? What are you doing? You guys invest in it personally,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. So we invest in it personally. So here's where I started. I told you, I said I love to take everybody along for the ride. So I fell in love with turnkey real estate because top of the funnel is be a realtor or be a landlord. I was like, okay, I'm going to help people be a landlord, like physicians, attorneys, high net worth people, anybody who has something they're passionate about and they're doing, they don't have time to actually do the thing in real estate. I'm going to help them build wealth through real estate. I'm going to go find the property. I'm going to renovate the property. I'm going to put a tenant in it. I'm going to manage it for them. And I'm going to sell it to them and it'll be a cash flowing asset. Let me fast forward to the lesson that I learned. That is not passive income. When you are a landlord, it is not passive. Even if you have a property management company, you have to babysit the property management company. You have to make sure that things are just all the things of being a landlord. It's not passive. So what I discovered in this path was I was looking at my turnkey investors and I was like, man, some of them are just not happy. I set expectations. I told them the things that they would have to do, that it is a little bit passive active, right? You're going to get the mailbox money, but sometimes the tenant leaves. Sometimes you have to approve for a repair. Sometimes you have no cash flow because you have a vacancy and you have to do the turn and you have to get a new tenant in. I set expectations, but they're still kind of upset. But my private money lenders, they love me. They give me more and more money. Why? Because they didn't have any of the headaches of a landlord. They got to give me money. I used it on real estate. They got the return and then wash, rinse, repeat. And so it really truly was passive income for them. And so that light bulb went off and I was just like, okay, so I'm going to scale back my turnkey business and I'm going to build up a real estate company that it's going to allow me to do all the work and people to passively invest. So they're still owners. They still have the real estate piece to the puzzle, but they don't have to do all the work. They don't have to approve all the things. They just have to know and trust me and get their passive income. And that has been the biggest shift for me to take other people along for the ride, build wealth through real estate without them having to do all the work and be the operator.
Okay, how long have you been doing that?
So 2008 was when I got into real estate. So 18 years is my real estate history. Apartments I got into during COVID. So 2000, so it's 2006, 6 years that I've been in the commercial industry.
So how does it work? And we talk a lot on here about angel investing and investing in, startup companies. And you said you're private equity, right? Between that is VC, right? And you can become an LP in a VC and hopefully you make money and it turns around in 10 to 15 years or something. What does that mean if there are people who want to invest? Like, what are the minimums? What's the turnaround times? Those kinds of averages.
Yeah, great question. So we're very unique in how we offer things. So I made it very simple. I believe that everybody has an opportunity to build wealth. I believe in women, specifically for this podcast and this audience, that you should take permission. You should give yourself permission and take ownership of your financial future. In order to do that, sometimes you need a simpler path to enter. And so how I've structured my funds is very simple. It is a fixed preferred return, 8 to 14%. And that's what you get. And you can be on the income path or the compound path. And that depends on your goals in life. I have a book that I just released called Calm Money Never Panics. Part of that title is teaching people to be intentional and have conviction over their decisions, right? Because a lot of us inherited a message about how to build wealth. And we put a lot of money in the stock market where we have no control. Well, we're okay with headlines and the volatility, right? Going up and down and up and down. And we have emotional reactions to it. And sometimes those emotional reactions cause us not to be able to build wealth. So I am trying to give empowerment to people who didn't understand the real estate game was something they could actually participate in, and they can take ownership of their financial future. They can give themselves permission to actually build real wealth in a way that you're not dependent on a stock market that a headline or a tweet is going to tank it, or AI is going to change the business for some of these big companies so much that they've lost billions, if not trillions. Some of the headlines is insane. Like, I don't want to put my money there. I want to put my money in something I can control and trust, right? And so there's uncorrelated assets. There's so many conversations you could have about this. The idea about calm money is conviction about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and being able to understand and say, I'm JJ, I invest in real estate, and here's why. Because I don't control the money in the stock market, because I don't want the volatility. I actually want to have the peace of mind that that money is going to be there in the future. And when you look at the funds, it's 8 to 14% returns, and it's income track or growth track. So that means that every single dollar you have should have a job. What is the job that you need of it? And that's part of the conversation that you should be having when you invest. What do I need right now? Do I need income? Am I trying to lessen my hours and I need actual supplemental income in order to live the quality of life I am accustomed to? Or am I working really hard in a job that I love and I don't need it right now? I actually want it to grow faster. If it grows faster, I might be able to retire early. I might be able to change to an income track. So every dollar is intentionally invested in an asset that you believe in so you keep it there long term, because really wealth is about the long-term strategic game. You have to put it in something you believe and you leave it there, and you have conviction of why you chose that investment. So my husband and I, we are in the growth. Like, I love what I do. I make plenty of money. I don't need it. So I'm going to throw it in there. I'm going to let it compound. So I choose the growth track. And so for us, 8 to 14%, people who are on the growth track are paid more. Not only does it compound, but it gets paid more because why? We get to utilize the funds for CapEx improvements, which is the renovations and things like that. People on the income track are paid 8 to 10 because they want the quarterly income. In their life right now, they want the income. And that's usually as people grow older in life, they're trying to supplement, right? The job that they no longer have.
I think it's interesting. You said something earlier. You said it a couple of times. Women need to give themselves permission. What do you mean by that?
Sometimes we fall in a trap of believing we're put in a position in life that we have to just accept, that we are lesser than the man, that we haven't been taught how to just not just preserve wealth, but build wealth. There's a difference between building wealth and freedom. There is a difference between preserving and taking care of your family, which I think that most women are accustomed being taught, right? They're growing up and they're taught all of these things. This is what a woman does. This is what, this is what your job is. And you take care of the family. You help protect the finances while the man is out there taking the risks and building, right? So I'm saying throw it all out, right? There's nothing different between me and my husband. Absolutely nothing. In fact, I'm more ambitious. I'm far more ambitious than he ever will be. He likes the idea of supporting me. He loves that. And so I say give permission, because you should never be in a position in your life where you're just taking things status quo or taking them as people say. You have the right to say, this is what I want. This is my heart. This is my passion. And I'm going to surround myself with somebody like you, JJ, or somebody like Dani, or somebody else that is on my same path and is going to help empower me to go where I want to go.
It's funny how much, we talk about, like, you don't need anybody's permission. You don't need anybody's permission. And I was just at this like book reading, and the whole book is about you don't need anybody's permission. And then literally somebody from the audience raised her hand and said, thank you for giving us permission. And I was like, no, this is exactly what, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's ingrained. I understand why she said it, you know what I mean? But it's ingrained. And it's like, give yourself permission. You're the only person you need to ask, you know, and that's really true. Now, is there a minimum for somebody to get into your fund?
Yeah, so it's 25,000. So again, we are doing our very best to allow people at any stage of their wealth building process to be able to get in. Usually this type of real estate is going to be 50,000, 100,000. We're doing a deal right now, the minimum is 500,000. And some of that barrier to entry is the type of deal, it's how much we have to raise. Our funds are 25,000 and we do that intentionally.
Yeah, I know, because even that can be really difficult, right? So how do you get to the point where you can spend $25,000 on this because it doesn't get all of the headlines, like you're saying, like a stock market, and that's the sexy thing to do or something like that. And, you know, you hear all these bad headlines about, you know, senior care places and they don't take care of them. Like, how do you know that it's being done properly? And then, you know, like I said, it's like you look up one thing about real estate and next thing you know, like 20 dudes are like hitting you up saying, hey, learn from me, you know? It's like insane.
Yes, 100%. And I do think when you find a mentor, you do have to find the person that's not going to belittle you. This is a man's world. If you're going to go into real estate, it is a man's world. And there are mentors out there that don't treat the women in their audience the same as the men in their audience. It's almost like they're not sure the women are going to be able to succeed. And so I have been very fortunate, maybe by gut instincts or just by, I believe everything happens for a reason and people line up for what I believe to be true, or I instinctually are going, you are going to respect me. So I'm actually going to pay you. But it can be the worst thing that happens in your life to be studying under somebody who doesn't believe in you. Right. So I think that has to be part of the process, is not only doing due diligence on the people that they actually know what they're talking about, seeing them in person. What are they doing? Getting references. But does this person actually believe in me? Because that changes the game.
Oh my God, I love it. I literally just put a LinkedIn post about this. It's like, you know, women need to work harder. It's like, no, we don't. We've always worked harder. We just aren't asking the right people, right? And that's exactly what that's saying. And we do have to do a little more research. And you know what? We are super busy, but at the same time, that's one good thing you can use AI for is do the research on the people. Don't just ask ChatGPT, ask Claude too. Do this research and find this. And then the other thing that you said is not investing in yourself. You know, investing in yourself is really important. And I, you know, I try to say it like as a lawyer, like if you are paying somebody to be a lawyer, that you're investing in yourself to review these documents to make sure you are like making the right choices because a lot is hidden in this shit. You just like referenced it when you were talking about your first deal that had my head spinning, and then this person pays that, and then like I'm a lawyer, and I was like, oh my God, how did she do that? You know what I mean? So those are all such important things, and I thank you for bringing them up in particular because it's something that I think needs to be said over and over and over, and from all different aspects. At what point were you like confident in a room to be like noticing if somebody was trying to make you feel small?
Okay, so I'm going to tell a story I've actually never told. I think this is the first time that I faced a bad guy in real estate, and it started making me aware of the personality traits that he carried. So it was the mentor that I had, right? He taught me the different ways to buy and sell real estate. And then he partnered with another guy, and I was coaching for them, and I was fine coaching for them. But then something happened, and I think I decided, oh, that's what it was. So he's like, I would call him a narcissist, but he's very much the power player. He looks down on most people, and it's not just women, but especially women. And he never treated me very well. And I hated that lack of respect and the feeling that he gave me. And that's why I said what I said: when you're looking for mentors, you got to find somebody who has your back, because that type of relationship can really, really hurt you and damage your belief in your own self. And so I never really loved it. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like him. I liked my mentor, but he partnered with a bad guy, in my opinion. And when that bad guy got proven to me, and where my awareness increased about what you just asked me, was he met us locally at some place because I said, hey, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to go out on my own. And I had no non compete. Like, I don't even know that we had an agreement. I was just coaching for them because I was one of their success stories. So he said, hey, we want to meet. And I was like, okay. So we're outside at some coffee shop. And ultimately, I just wouldn't back down. I was like, this is why I don't want to work with you, because he was there to really put me in my place and tell me what I was going to do for him. And I was just like, I'm not going to do it. Like, and I just stood my ground. And I don't even think my husband was there. It was just me. The more I stood my ground, the more angry that he got. And ultimately, he ended the conversation with, I'm going to crush you like the cockroach you are. And I was like, what the, like, who talks to people like that? It shocked me. Like, the visceral reaction in my body was just like, I don't understand. I've never lived in a world where people talk to you like that. And I think that was the moment in real estate that I went, man, okay, this is a world of men and there are some real assholes out there. And I'm not going to let this stop me. But how do I make sure that I never put myself in a position where I'm working with somebody like that again? And so that increased my awareness of what are the characteristics of this guy that I want to make sure that I don't see in anybody else that I play with. I still made the mistake one more time. And it was because it was different characteristics. And I had so much admiration for somebody who had built so much wealth that I was like, I want to learn from you. I just want to learn. I want to soak it in. It's okay that there's a few things I don't love about you, but I can survive. I will do it. And it wrecked me for like, I worked with him for a year and it wrecked me for a long time. I had a lot of self-doubt. For as successful as I had gotten, I had a lot of self-doubt. So I would just encourage people to get out of those relationships and recognize those characteristics from people right away. You don't deserve it. You don't need it. Find the people that do believe in you, who will support you, because that will change your life.
And who don't make you feel stupid for asking questions or not knowing an answer or thinking outside the box, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, you are a wealth of knowledge and it's been amazing. But I know that you have to go make money for people and yourself. So I'm going to ask you the one question we ask everybody on this podcast. And that is, what is the worst advice you've ever received?
When you're building a business, you have to be able to afford the people that are around you. You have to be really conservative in how you spend money. You have to scale slowly. Those business lessons, I think, is the very worst advice that I ever got. Because the difference between paying somebody $100,000 and $150,000 and the amount of wisdom that you get and the amount of experience that you get from that, 50,000 doesn't make a difference, because that $100,000 person is going to lose you far more than $50,000 because they didn't have the experience of that person. And that scarcity mindset of not spending money, of not like believing in yourself enough to risk and trust that you made the right decision. Like, I don't believe in scarcity. If there's something evil to me, it is scarcity. It's this limited mindset that I can't do everything that I am about to go after. And so I had doubt that I shouldn't, like, this guy's smarter than me. This is a man's world. He's going to look down on me. He's going to be like, why are you the CEO? And I can't afford him right now. I really should be smart with my money. Like, I could have grown so much bigger and so much faster and been so much more successful if I would have just taken the belief in me and not listened to other people's advice. Because I think the purest form of money is abundance. It is expansion. It is unlimitedness. And we aren't meant to be small. We are meant to do everything that is in our heart and we have the passion to do, because we can do it.
Wow. I'm not religious, but hallelujah. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay. So I know that you have an offer to offer our audience. You want to explain that?
Yeah, I do. So if you go to chatwithfreedom.com, you're going to land on our website and you can schedule a 15-minute clarity call if you want to learn more about what we offer. But what we're doing specifically for JJ's audience is we are giving away my book. It is Calm Money Never Panics. It's going to teach you about all the things that we talked about today, the long strategic game of building wealth, intentional investing, having conviction, and getting out of the, like, there's 9 versions of panic tax where you lose money because you are paying a tax every time you panic. So it's a really great book. We're giving it to you for free. When you go to the chatwithfreedom.com, you're going to see a little box. And in that box, you're going to type lady. And when you type lady, then you're going to get the book for free. It is a digital version, but I think you'll find a lot of value for it. And like I said, if you want to talk to the team, schedule a 15-minute clarity call as well. We'll tell you, it's not there to sell you. It's there to go, what are your dollars working on right now? What jobs are they playing? What jobs do you need them to play? Here's how real estate can help, and just broaden your options and learn. Because whether you have $25,000 or not, you have to learn at some point. You have to get educated. And honestly, putting $7,000 in a Roth and then self-directing it into an investment that you choose, you can start that small and build millions of dollars over time.
Great advice. Thank you so much. If people want to find you other than Chat with Freedom, where else can they find you?
I'm on social media, not a lot. Usually Facebook is where I am. So you can search Dani Lynn Robison. I'm sure that you'll find me because I talk about money a lot and you'll see my picture.
I've seen you on YouTube.
Have you? Yes, YouTube. The Freedom Shows, I think, plural, The Freedom Shows. That's probably the best. You're going to see a bunch of videos. You're going to really learn who I am. You'll see Flip. Find us anywhere you can, and please reach out. We love talking to people.
Love it. Thank you so much. And to everyone listening to this episode of Taking Care of Lady Business, thank you. Until next time, I'm Jennifer Justice. Thanks to MedJet for supporting the Taking Care of Lady Business podcast. When you travel for work or internationally, the real question isn't if something could happen, it's whether you've planned for it. That's why I'm a member of MedJet and have been for years. If your security is threatened or you're hospitalized while traveling, MedJet can get you home and to the hospital you choose, not just the closest one. It's not travel insurance. It's about not leaving critical decisions to chance. If you travel regularly, it's worth having in place. You can learn more at medjet.com. Thanks for tuning in to Taking Care of Lady Business. If this was useful, subscribe and share with a friend. Make sure to check out the show notes for more on my guest and me, Jennifer Justice. Taking Care of Lady Business is a production of Lady Business LLC. See you next time.